Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome, welcome. I think I'm a few minutes late. Sorry about that. We've got some thundering happening here, and one of our dogs, my dog, happens to be pretty afraid of thunder, so he's been running around the house. So that's been a lot of fun. So if you hear the captain yelling at the dogs, that's what he's yelling about. Or he may end up in here with me, the dog, not the captain. Maybe both. I don't know. But hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Evelyn of Pink Sheep Design, and today is Pink Sheep and Friends Friday. This is episode 44 of Pink Sheep and Friends, and this is where I get to chat with other makers from within the fiber community, whether that's crocheters, knitters, yarn dyers, yarn makers, anybody in the fiber community that wants to come on and chat and hang out for a little while. So I'm super excited today to be talking to a crochet designer, maker, and also merch designer, which I feel like is a growing area within crochet. We've got a lot of people who are coming up with their own merchandise, which is really exciting. I think before I felt like a lot of the merchandise for knitters and crocheters was kind of, I guess the right word is like kitschy. Not super modern, and I feel like now there's so many different people putting their spin and ideas on crochet merchandise that it's really fun to celebrate our love of yarn and crochet and all of that with t-shirts and bags and mugs and all of that. So so today we're going to be talking to Lisa of Green Fox Farm, and I'm going to see if she is here. Let's see. I'm going to type in her name. There she is. I said farm because I wasn't sure immediately. Trying to remember everyone's Instagrams. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
Just a little.
Oh, you're good. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. So thank you so much for joining me today. I'm super excited. Like I said, I've been wanting to bring on some more people who also have a big part of their business being merchandise, because I think that's really exciting to see what people's process has been. Because if I remember correctly, you actually make your merchandise in your house, don't you?
I do,
Yes.
yeah. Right here.
Yes, that's awesome. So for anyone who doesn't know you, if you just want to give like a quick introduction of who you are and what you do.
Sure. Okay. I'm Lisa. I'm the designer behind Green Fox Farms Designs. I design crochet patterns, and I have an Etsy shop with lots of crochet merch. Stickers are probably my most popular item, but we do like little crochet hook bags. These are really popular too.
Oh, I love that.
Perfect for storing, all of your essentials and lots of stuff. I do kind of like whimsical, really colorful and kid-friendly stuff. I have 5 kids, so
Wow.
I learned to crochet for them, and so that's kind of always informed my style. But yeah, I feel like I do a little bit of everything.
Yes. And so is this what you do full time, or do you also work outside the house or in the house doing something else?
No, this is what I do. I think parenting still is more of a full-time job, but my youngest is now 3 and she goes to preschool 3 days a week. So yeah, it's feeling more and more like my actual job, and less like a side project, which it's been for most of the time I've had my shop. So I actually opened my first Etsy in 2012, so I've been doing it a while.
Yeah. And so was it always yarn related,
Yes.
or did you have other side projects or crafty endeavors?
Well, I did have a dress shop for a little while. I've always sewn. Crochet is like more of a newer hobby or lifestyle now at this point in time. But but yeah, the dress shop was fun, but it's a lot of keeping up with everything, and it was too much with the kids. I used to homeschool my kids. I don't anymore, but
Gotcha.
so
And that's a lot.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
what's the age range of your kids? I mean, did you have them all in the house homeschooling at once, or did you have some that had moved out, or?
No, they all decided to start going to school at once, actually. So I've got a 3-year-old who's almost 4. She'll be 4 in April, and I have an 8-year-old, an 11-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a 16-year-old. So
okay,
I know
yeah.
I've got it all right now. It's kind of scary. So
That's great though.
yeah,
I mean, it keeps it interesting for sure.
For sure. That's for sure.
So are any of your kids, when I say crafty, I'm sure some of them are crafty, but do you feel like what you do now kind of rubs off on them at all? Or are some of them just kind of like, I don't really care, or some of them all in?
Yeah. My middle daughter, she has asked to learn to crochet a couple of times. And we've never quite managed to make it work. She always wants to learn everything, but she loves to draw. She spends a lot of her free time drawing. And my second oldest daughter too, she loves to draw a lot too. The boys are less, they're more into like Pokemon and just computer gaming and stuff. But all 3 of my daughters are pretty into crafts. I mean, the 3-year-old, of course, crafts her life at that age.
Right. Yeah. There's your next t-shirt. Crafts are life.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, and I don't know if you're the same way, because you said it's now kind of become, it is, I mean, it's a lifestyle. Once you really dive in and you've got not only the pattern designs, but you're making the merchandise and you're having to make it for yourself so you can market it.
Yep.
And I told my husband, I was like, I'm sitting here, like, I'll get dressed for the morning and I've got like a tank top that's my design, followed by a hoodie that's my design. And I'm like, am I ever going to wear anything else? Yeah. But I might as well have it on if I'm going out. What if someone asks?
I know, right? I actually, there was a Fiber Fest in town, and I had one reel that went really big, and I got recognized at the Fiber Fest because I was wearing the hoodie that I had worn in there. And I was like, there's my 15 minutes of fame.
That's awesome. Yeah,
that's
on my list. That's on my list to go to. I have not been to any kind of Fiber Festival or Makers Retreat or anything like that. And I think now that this is our second year doing this full time, it's like a big goal. Like that's the goal, is like maybe get an RV. That's on the and then we'd be able to, really go and actually go to some of these festivals and I just think that would be really fun. Have you traveled to any festivals, or do you just happen to have some near you?
I happen to have one in my tiny town of 8,000 people. The Minnesota Fiber Fest is in my town for whatever reason. So, I have not gotten to travel to any, with all the kids and stuff. It gets tricky, but that's definitely on my 10-year plan.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, when did you start crocheting, and what did that look like for you?
I started crocheting when I was pregnant with my middle daughter. So she'll be 12 in June. So about 13 years now. Mm-hmm. So, I just wanted to make stuff, for my kids. That was kind of the goal, and it gave me something to do. I have my BFA in painting and drawing, but I haven't really done a lot of that. I have an iPad and I play on Procreate, but I haven't devoted a lot of time to that. So I needed a creative outlet. Like I need that for my sanity. Yeah. And to be a good human and mother, I needed, something outside for me. So that was what got me started, and all of my early stuff was for my kids. I made stuff for them, and then I started making stuff for family members, and then somebody was like, you should make an Etsy shop because you can only make so many hats and mittens and scarves and toys for your family and friends. Yeah. So
there you go.
Pretty much.
Well, do you remember by chance what it was that made you say, I'm going to learn how to do that, to make stuff for your kids? Was it Pinterest, or do you remember that? Why?
That is a good question. I don't exactly. I used to sew. I still sew occasionally, but so it might have just been because sewing is not something you can pick up and put down whenever you need to. And with little kids, so if I was pregnant with her, it means I had a very active 18-month-old and a 3-year-old on my hands. So time to do anything was really hard to find, and getting all my sewing stuff set up, and and there's sharp objects everywhere, and you got the iron, and it's just not. And at that point in time I was working at my kitchen table, so basically after everybody went to bed was the only time I could do anything. And I think it was probably just a desire to have a craft I could do that was easier to pick up and put down when I needed. My mom did crochet, but I don't think that really influenced me because she never really did it around us, or she wasn't like obsessed like I am.
Yes.
It was something she knew how to do, but that's probably why I picked crochet over knitting though. But yeah, I think that was just a way that I could get a craft in that wasn't messy and that I didn't have to worry about anybody hurting themselves on.
Yeah, well, and I think too, because I knit, I mean, I knit for a little while, but I felt like, God forbid you drop stitches or the needle comes out, I mean, and anything shifts, like it wasn't as easy to, and I know it's so funny because they make those cute little like stoppers for the needles. Like I know there's regular ones, but I can't remember who it is, but someone that I follow on Instagram makes like the cutest little stitched stoppers that almost are like cute erasers. Like when I think of like old school pencil erasers you slip on there. But I'm always like, oh, is there a reason that you could make those for crocheters? I don't think there is, but I kind of just want them.
We gotta stick them on the end of our hooks, especially the little ones.
Yeah. So, but I do think that crochet is a lot easier, not only to like fix mistakes, but like if you do put it down, like you can take your hook out. Like you don't have to, I mean, I usually do. I'll take the hook out, put it up. You can put a little stitch marker on there if you need to.
Yeah.
But it's definitely easier to manage. So what got you into designing? And I read a little bit, which I thought was really funny because I felt the same way about, I didn't really like following patterns. And I don't know if that affected you. So let's talk a little about that.
Yeah, I started adjusting things like as soon as I had the confidence to to do so. Like I started off making like birthday crowns ended up being a big thing. And that was one of my big sellers in my original Etsy shop when I first got started. And, I bought a couple of patterns and I didn't like how they worked out. I didn't like how they fit. The count seemed off. I mean, I don't think I had a clue about gauge back then, but I started messing around with it and I just started changing things. And then I hadn't had my shop very long and somebody asked me to design like a little cape to go with the crown I was making for her daughter. And I designed, a sort of garment pattern after I've been crocheting for like 6 months or something. And I'm like, okay, well, I can do this. And it was just, I don't know. I mean, I just figured out it was sometimes easier to figure it out myself. Like I could look at stuff and figure out how to make it. So why follow a pattern when I could do it myself? And then I get exactly what I want. So I don't want to say perfectionist, that's the right word, but like wanting exactly what I want. That's what that's what drove me.
Yeah.
So
I think for me it was more of I didn't have the patience. Like I just wanted to do it, and that actually happened. It's funny, I don't talk about I have a sewing machine and I can do just the basics. And I don't talk about it a lot because it's not something I do regularly at all. Like I don't remember the last time. I don't think I've used my sewing machine since we moved into our new house. And so it's just kind of sitting on a shelf. But when I first started learning how to do that, of course, my grandmother was a seamstress. And so, made like wedding dresses and really wanted me to learn like how to use patterns and all of that. And I was like, nah, I'm just gonna freehand it. And I remember one of the proudest things that I ever did was I freehanded a formal dress for just a formal at college. So like it wasn't, I didn't care. I just thought it was cool. I could go buy my own fabric, and I bought this like maroon floral silky fabric and just like draped it and pinned it and made a little train on the back. And it's funny because crochet, we use the cross back to create shaping, and I did that with the dress. I bought some cord and made a cross back and shaped the dress a little bit. And it was probably, looking back, if I still had it, it'd probably be like the most awful construction ever, but I was so proud, it didn't matter if I didn't use a pattern.
No, that's definitely something to be proud of. Sewing is not forgiving like crochet is, so that's like an extra accomplishment.
But I think that's a lot of it. I think it's, for me, it's also getting things done, quickly. So I'm like, if I don't have to follow all these stitches, if I can simplify it at all so that I can just get it done, because I want to be able to like sit down for a couple of days and not have to work on something for 6 months.
Right.
So I think for me, it was more of like just the patience side of things.
Always. Yeah.
But so when did it turn into, because like how often now do you release new patterns, do you think on average?
Well, for a while there I was getting like 2 out a month, but I've had to slow that down. I feel like somebody is sick in my house constantly.
And that's a lot. 2 a month is a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
So maybe 1 a month. I mean, that's kind of my goal right now. I would love to be able to produce more than that, but I always do a lot of versions. Like when I make a pattern, I don't do like one size. I do, even if I don't do a lot of garments. I actually only have one sweater pattern. But I made like a zipper pouch a couple of years ago, and there's 4 different sizes for that. Or
Nice.
Everything has options.
Yeah.
I like to have options, so when I'm designing something, I just automatically incorporate that. So it takes me longer because I make each size typically. I'm not a person who can like write the pattern and have somebody else make it, or like just make the one. I want to figure out like each little part by doing it.
So,
and
that's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot of
it takes time.
Work. I had, let's see, Val Stitch Niche says, what designs do you have planned for spring? And she said, do you both have planned? But you can go first.
I am just finishing up a dice bag right now that I'm really excited about. It's something I've wanted to do for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So I don't this year has been really tricky. I don't have my designs really planned yet. I'll do a crochet along in April, and as soon as I get this one done, that's what I'm going to be working on. So I don't know yet. Sometimes I fly by the seat of my pants, and this year is starting out that way. So I hate to say that, but I had wanted to do like a monthly pattern release of like all the planets this year,
cool.
and like solar system type thing. So I might get that going later in the year. And then I have a big zodiac series of both merchandise, but I want to incorporate some patterns with that too. So that's something I'm hoping to get done this year, but we'll see, because I'm also working on trying to balance my life a little better and work fewer hours, because sanity is important.
Hard. Yeah, that's hard. It's hard to do. I think I'll find myself, usually I try to do like the 8 to 5 since I am here, and I can say like I'm just going to stop working at 5 o'clock. But then like we'll get done with dinner and be watching TV, and I'll just grab my laptop and start working. And he'll have to tell me like it's past 5 o'clock, like and I'm like, I know, but I just wanted to get this done,
Yep. I do.
Well, I totally feel you on the flying by the seat of your pants, because that's usually how I feel. And because I like to work with the super bulky yarn, summer patterns are hard for me, like spring and summer patterns. It really tests my creativity, and because I still want to use the bulkier yarn. So like, what can I do? What kind of yarn can I use? And last year I used t-shirt yarn for the first time, to create patterns. I've used ribbon yarn, which is great because it's cotton. But yeah, I'm in the same boat. I don't know what I'm going to do for spring. I ended up kind of falling behind with the cooler weather patterns. So I actually have 2 patterns that I still need to write up and are ready, but I feel like I'm going to need to hold off on releasing them till like next year, because by the time they get tested, it's going to be the middle of summer, and they're like jackets. So I think those are going to be 2 that I go ahead and write up and I have them ready, but then I start the testing at the end of summer, and then I'll be able to kind of release them in fall. But that's so hard to do. Like, I don't know if you've ever had to do that, where like you've got a pattern and you have to wait. I don't like that idea.
Yeah, but you do. There's certain things that just make sense to release at certain times. I've definitely done that. I had a little butterfly pattern that I designed when my almost 4-year-old was a baby, and I didn't release it until this past August, because I didn't like the wings. And so I just set it aside for like 2 years and then finally finished it. That was not intentional, but it was just like I couldn't finish it at that time. I wasn't happy with it, and I had a little one, and then COVID hit, so that really
and that's I would love to do another, like a tote bag. That would be a really fun one for summer. And I'll probably use t-shirt yarn because I have a lot of that left. I've been wanting to make like a tote bag that has a laptop sleeve, because we just got new laptops for the first time in like 7 years, and so I wanted, you know, to be able to find one that I could fit like really snug and on one side, and then maybe have like I don't know dividers maybe. I don't know. I have ideas, but sometimes it's just sitting down with the yarn and going with it. I don't sketch too much, and I don't know what's that process like for you. So like when you get a design in your head, do you sketch it out or do you just kind of go with it? Like what does that look like for you?
If I'm doing like amigurumi, I will sometimes kind of plan it out in advance, but I usually just sit down and make it. I mean, I have a big series of you have my sweet stripe stitch that I use for a lot of stuff, so with that I've made so many things that I can usually just pull from a previous pattern to get started, which is really nice.
Helpful.
So I don't want to say I've gotten lazy with that, but I mean it's really nice. It makes the process speed up a lot to be able to do that. So no, I don't. I'm not good about pre-planning. And if something strikes me like inspiration, that's it. All other things get cast aside. I chase that, you know, because that's always how I've been. So
well, and I think the idea of pulling from past patterns, it's actually really nice. Like, I mean, of course, it's the whole like work smarter, not harder. And I'm starting to get to that point now because I have enough patterns. I tried to look at like my hook size range, and I'm like, okay, you know, which hooks that we make do we have patterns for? And then if I make another one using the same hook and a similar yarn, then I already have a base for every single size of the pattern. Like I know how many stitches like the front panels would need to be and the back panels would need to be, and the armholes, like sleeves have got so much easier
so nice.
now that I really know like the inches and all of that. So you know, being able to pull when I can for, you know, some of those like basics, like if you start with ribbing on the bottom, I know how long that needs to be, how many, you know, stitch counts. So I think it's helpful, and I hope it just gets easier.
So. Yeah, definitely.
And do you have testers for your patterns right now?
Oh yeah. I right now my I pull testers from my Facebook group and my email list. I put out tester calls to them, and then I'm working on getting a Patreon page going, so my patrons will also have the opportunity to test for me. But we just had norovirus and COVID run through my house, so I am so behind on everything right now. It's not even funny.
Well, and there's always stuff to do. I think that's, you know, and I know sometimes like we create things for ourselves. Like, you know, I know for me, I realized after looking through my Etsy shop last week maybe, that I really didn't like the way that I did my graphics for my apparel in my Etsy shop. And I mean, there's like 40 something listings, but I have taken it upon myself that those need to be updated. And so now I'm going to have to go through and create new graphics. And I say I'm going to have to. But there's always something to be done. You know, I know for me, I think it was Premier Yarn that sent me an email and said that their affiliate platform is changing to a new platform. And I'm like, great. So every single link that I've been putting on every single video and every single blog now has to be updated.
Oh yeah. Pearl's changed theirs how long ago, and I've still never gone back and updated any of that stuff because it's just not going to happen. And you know, I think too, with people who try to create or who have created a small business for themselves, you know, there's so many, everybody looks for multiple streams of income is what you hear over and over. Anyone who wants to start a small business, multiple streams of income. And so like,
I think it was just this past week that I finally got an Amazon storefront. I haven't shared it anywhere, but it's there, and I've done it, and now I just need to fill it up with stuff, and you know, just to get commission. So it's like there's always something.
There really is,
And I would love to know for you, what are some of the different ways that people can support you? So I know you said you're working on a Patreon and you have your Etsy. Do you have other ways that people can support you right now?
I have all my patterns are in Ravelry. And then I have my website, which is, it's, you know, I have a bunch of free patterns on there, and then I have some tutorials. I really want to get working on more of those, but that hasn't happened. And I do a lot of roundups. Those are really fun to do.
Those are fun.
And my audience really seems to like them. So we've been focusing on getting those done. I have a VA who I don't know how I would live without her.
That's awesome.
Yes. So she helps me a lot with those. But that's kind of it. I've tried to, I mean, Etsy is really kind of like my main focus right now. And then my email list too. That's, you know, if you want to stay up to date with stuff, you know, they're always the first to know about everything. And eventually Patreon will be the same thing too. But I'm frustrated because it was supposed to launch last week.
I
don't know when
life happens. Life happens
for sure.
That's weird. We're releasing hooks today. We're releasing new crochet hooks today. And it was the same thing. Like, I wanted to get them up before this live, but that didn't happen. So I've still got, I think I've got all the photos edited, and I've got all the listings drafted. It's just plug and play and hitting up to, I know. And that's why I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to have to like stuff my face with some lunch after I go live and get to it, and then I can share it. But stuff happens, like stuff comes up. And, you know, I think it's the best thing we can do is remember to just be nice to ourselves when it happens. Because I think we all tend to, we're our worst critics, and like, we're the ones who beat ourselves up. Like, no one else, we don't have a boss saying like, if you don't get this done, you're fired. Like, you know, we have you have the freedom to do it when you can.
Yeah, I have the meanest boss ever. Absolutely. I know. I set my own deadlines, and it's like, what are you doing?
So what are some of the things that you do? What are some of the things that you found inspire you when you're creating? You know, whether that's like, you know, a colorway in yarn, or if you look to, you know, other areas to pull inspiration. But what are some of the things, and maybe some of the things that you actively do? Like, if you're not feeling super inspired, is there something you do to try to like spark that?
So the main things that inspire me to create a pattern would be either something for one of my kids, or something that I want or need, something that I would find useful. Because I tend to either do amigurumis and like toy type stuff, or like kind of home decor, but also like bags, baskets, that kind of stuff. So occasionally I will have somebody ask me to make something, which is really nice, because it's like, then you know people want something. So that's awesome. I love when people like tell me what they would like to see. But yeah, I mean, it's usually just something I would want or need, or somebody I know would want or need it, or something like that. I don't run out of inspiration, really.
That's good.
I have this like massive list of like, anytime I get an idea, I have this like Trello board where we put all the ideas in there, and some of them get eliminated because later on I'm like, oh, that's a terrible idea. What was I thinking, right? But there's, if I were to ever run out of ideas, there's like 200, you know, pattern ideas stored up in there for me to choose from. So
that's awesome. I need to start doing that. I feel like I've done that with post ideas for Instagram, you know, and reels ideas. And I really need to start doing that with patterns. I feel like I'll usually look for, I'll look to other fashion outlets. So like really kind of over the top fashion pieces, and see like, how can I, because most of my stuff's a little over the top. I'd say it's just a little ridiculous sometimes. So I like to look and see like, how can I turn, you know, one thing into another, or looking at other you know, knit patterns or crochet patterns that are like on the opposite spectrum of mine. So like people who use like fingering weight yarn and like how they were able to shape that. And is there a way to kind of play off of that idea? But it can get, like I said, now that I'm moving into summer, I'm having to like change gears completely. And definitely need some brainstorming. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I like to do bags and baskets and that kind of stuff in the summer because those are always useful, and we're always going places. In the spring you want to organize, so you know, making stuff to put things in. Again, 5 kids, I always need a home for stuff, like and I mean, you guys can't really see the disaster behind me. That used to be a yarn wall. Now there's like photo props and all kind of stuff. It's a mess back there. It hasn't been cleaned up since the holidays. So
spring cleaning.
I mean, it's always a mess. But yes, exactly. That's why that's why I always end up with bags and baskets in the spring and summer. So
that's a good idea, because I don't even think I've made like a basket pattern. You know, I think last year I did a little drawstring bag, which was really fun because it ended up being so simple. And that's kind of my goal with my patterns, is trying which a basket would be good, because I could make it super, super simple.
Short projects are good too for when it's hot.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and again, like that's the big thing with the yarn, is finding yarn. Like nobody's going to want to use blanket yarn or wool in the summer, you know, so finding the right yarn to use. Well, and I would love to know too, because I feel like people love hearing about people's kind of favorites. So like for you, where is your favorite place to go shopping for yarn or buy yarn?
Well, we live in a tiny town. We're about an hour away from the Twin Cities. So my favorite place to shop would be to actually get to go to a yarn store. But a lot of times I do my shopping online because it's easier. The only place I can buy yarn in town is Walmart, which, you know, they carry my favorite like Red Heart colors and stuff. I mean, I do really love the Red Heart ombre and the stripes. Those are 2 favorites of mine to work with, so that's great. I can get those locally, but I also really like working with paint box cotton, and so. And
is that paint box, do you get that on Love Crafts?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I do most of my amigurumis and stuff are designed with that. So yeah, I shop online mostly. So, and
do you ever shop? What have been some of the sites that you've used? Love Crafts, obviously. Are there others that you've enjoyed the experience? So like, because I think online shopping, I think some people can, especially if they shop in store a lot, they might feel like nervous about shopping from certain websites. Are there some that you've really had a good experience with?
Well, I mean, I guess I tend to go places that I'm comfortable with. So like Joann's or Michael's, Love Crafts. I do a lot of shopping. I have a lot of paint box cotton here, like huge bins. I mean, I'll just buy it when it's on sale. I'll just buy a ton of it because I know I'm going to use it over and over. And then I have all the colors that I need on hand already. That's like one thing I found in the early days was really hard, is I would have an idea and I wouldn't have the right yarn on hand because we live so far away from everywhere.
Price.
Yes. And I gotta drive there and I gotta wait, or I have to order it and then I have to wait like a week or 2. That's terrible. So, but if you're shopping online for the first time, I mean, I think they do a good job of representing colors and stuff, but sometimes you just gotta order a few things and try it out and see what you think. It's just, I mean, there's not really, it's not the same. You'll never get the same experience as shopping in the store, but I get overwhelmed sometimes being in the store because I don't always know what I want. I just want to go see and touch everything, and then I feel like I should have a specific project in mind if I'm going to buy it, right? And I usually don't. So, and a lot of times when I'll go to buy, get to go to Michael's or Joann in person and buy yarn, then I never end up using it for what I thought I was going to use it for, and it just sits there. So,
I agree. I think for me, I know that most of my projects are going to be wearables, and I know now after making so many that I need at least 600 yards of something. I mean, if I'm gonna make myself a chunky wearable, So at least there's that guideline.
Yeah.
You know, if I find a yarn that I like somewhere, if they don't have 600 yards of it, then I don't need to buy it, you know?
Yeah.
And then if they do they have it, especially now with the branding, and I don't know if this has affected you at all, but it's a lot easier for me to say no now if yarn doesn't come in bright colors.
Yes.
I mean, because that's what I'm going to create. So like there have been some gorgeous yarn that I've seen, and one in particular, I just thought about buying some, and because I've seen it for a little while. It's the Joanne brand, and they've got it on sale right now. But it's it's their brand, and it's the Hush, I think is what it's called, Hush. But it's really, really soft. I mean, like just ridiculously soft. But then I was like, all they have is like blush tones and earth tones, and so like, no, I don't need it.
No, because you're never gonna actually reach for it. Yeah, I have that exact same problem when I'm shopping for stuff. It's like, okay, well, if you only have pastels or neutrals, I'm just gonna have to keep shopping.
Yes,
I know what I like, and
yep. So that has been a huge help, and I think it'll be interesting because last year it was Hobby Lobby. We have one kind of close, and like I said, I kind of just like to try yarn from everywhere because I get a lot of people who are always asking me where to get bulky yarn from, because a lot of people don't use it, and my pattern will be one of the first ones that they'll use. So I like to try all the different bulky yarns from all the different stores, because that may be the only place that they have access to. And I remember Hobby Lobby, when I went, they had this yarn, which it was this colorway and this colorway, and then this is Bernat blanket. It's like Bernat velvet, maybe something like that. But they only had these two, and it was literally just enough to make this, and then I had to accent it with the brown. But then all of their other colorful ones, it was like muted color. So it was like you know, a muted gold and a muted blue, and like, you know, those softer tones, which I got some because I was like, I need something, you know, to kind of inspire me to try something new. But I was like, I need the bright colors. Where are my bright colors at? So have you worked with Hobie at all?
I haven't. I've shopped it, and then, you know, I got that whole like buying online. I want to buy everything from the store, and then you know, get overwhelmed and not make the purchase at all. Well,
and I was gonna say you should reach out, because I feel like you know, they work a lot with makers with like sending yarn for projects, and it's open-ended. At least so far, my experience is it's been there's not like a, if we send you this yarn, you have to design a pattern and give us the pattern, and then we'll figure out commissions and all that stuff. No, it's like, we've got a theme for you. Here's the yarn you can pick from. Pick however much yarn you need for your project, and then do your project. And then if that turns into a pattern, great, but it's free yarn. So like, all you have to do is reach out. But that might be a good fit for you, because you have such fun ideas and patterns. And that's why I was thinking like the planets, and they've got great cotton. So thanks. I think that'll be good. Of course. I've been working with them for, it's been a little over a year, I would think. I don't think it's been a full 2 years, but they just send me an email every now and then, are like, we've got a new challenge. Do you want to join in? You know, here's what you have to do. You'll have to post about it a couple of times, you know, and link to the yarn. But it's just been very stress-free. I think that's what, I've worked with companies before, and I'm like, I don't want to do that again. Like, that's kind of stressful.
When there's like this list of expectations, and you're like, nah, that probably wasn't worth it, was it?
Yes, or then you feel rushed, and like you said, life happens, and like if something comes up and you don't get around to it, and then it's like you don't want to be blacklisted from ever working with the company again because something happened. So I don't work with a ton of companies because of that, because it's like, I'd rather spend my time working on, you know, things for my business that I know are going to drive income.
Exactly. I mean, there's only so many hours in the day, and and I honestly have always worried about that. Just when the kids exponentially rise, the number of things that can go wrong, it goes up too, and it's like, so I've always kind of you know, shied away from doing a lot of brand partnerships, just because I'm, you know, and it happens to me like all the time where if I'm only
Yeah.
competing with my own deadline, then who cares? So,
Yep.
yeah.
Exactly. Well, when did you get into the merchandise side? So you had started your pattern designing, and what kind of brought that on? Was it just like a moment? Did someone ask for something? How did that start for you?
Um, well, I learned about Cricut, and
Hmm.
my mom bought me a Cricut Maker for my birthday, either in 2018 or 2019, and I left it in the box for an entire year before touching it because, like, the idea of, like, learning this whole new thing was, I wanted it,
Yes.
but then it's like it can do so many things. It was
Yeah.
overwhelming.
Yep.
Anyways, COVID is actually what got me to finally start doing that. So I started playing around. I was actually going to open a whole nother shop just selling t-shirts, not even yarn related at all.
Yeah.
That was my plan. I started making t-shirts for my family, and everybody thought this was so great. I mean,
Hmm.
it was a blast. I got a couple heat presses, and then I was like, or I have this like existing shop and
Yep.
existing audience. What if I just made stuff with yarn on it
Yep.
and put it in there, and then we'll worry about the starting a whole other shop from scratch later. And here we are. Still
Yeah.
never opened that shop. I still really, really want to open. What I want to open is a t-shirt shop that caters to plus size women specifically, because I feel like this is a very underserved market, and we represent more than half of the U.S. women's population.
Yep.
Something I'm very passionate about, but my time is limited, so I haven't been able to do that yet. But I'm very conscious of when I'm making garments available. I will only use colors and brands that I can get in a full range of sizes from extra small to 5XL, because I know how annoying it is to not be able to get your size in things. So that's been a big thing for me. And I in going on my little soapbox there, I'm not sure if I answered your question or not, but
No, you did. You
okay.
did. And I think, I realized that, for someone, because I don't make anything in-house, I use all print on
Mm-hmm.
demand options, and the options are so limited.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even if I want to offer larger sizes, they don't offer
Yep.
it to me, you
Yep.
know?
Yep.
I think Bonfire, who I've been
Okay.
using for a while, they try
Mm-hmm.
to have options, especially in like their
Mm-hmm.
basics, but then it's like, what if someone wants a tie-dye hoodie,
Yeah.
and they only
Yep.
go up to like an XL, you
Yep. Yep.
know? Um,
And it's
so
the
I see
garment
that a
companies that have,
lot.
yeah, the garment companies are who's limiting us, because I can, there's like, 500 colors you can choose, but there's only 8 of them that you can actually get in a
Yes.
full range of sizes. So
Yep.
yeah, it's very frustrating to see this need, and I can't change the garment industry,
Yeah.
but I can do my one little space.
Do you do you do you go out places and purchase? I had one friend back in Atlanta who would actually go to like Old Navy and
Mm-hmm.
purchase plain items because they always had the larger options for like really fun styles. You
Mm-hmm.
could get like a really cute tank top instead of just like the basic t-shirt. So
Yeah.
do you do that, or do you tend to purchase directly from garment companies for your clothing?
Yeah. Yeah, I have a supplier that I use to get all of my blanks.
Oh, nice.
They have a really nice variety of brands, and I have a particular shirt brand and a hoodie brand that I personally purchased, and we all wore, and tried them out and
That's
laundered them for like a year or
good.
so, just to make sure the quality. I've only had one. I had one T-shirt I had to replace because the hem fell out after one wash. But I mean, out of how many hundreds of shirts, I'm pretty happy with that. So
Yeah.
so they have a pretty good variety available, and they have a warehouse local to me, which means I can if I'm placing a large order anyway, I can usually get it like the next day, which is really nice.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, even after like the COVID shipping and stuff extended things, because they're so close, I can get stuff shipped to me really quickly, so when I want to try out new things, it makes life easier. But I haven't gone beyond that. I'm just stick with what I know I can get in every size. So
Yeah.
that's kind of been my guiding well, and obviously trying to choose colors that are actually popular and
Yeah, well,
and
and
that,
I
but
feel like at least with what you're doing, because I'm guessing how you work it, because I was trying to think, I've always felt like inventory would be so overwhelming. But I feel like you probably print these on demand, right? So like
yeah,
you have a stock, but it's not like that entire stock is made up of one design that you've
yeah,
already printed. Is that how you manage that?
yeah. Well, right now I only have black t-shirts, but I'm going to be adding 4 new colors this spring. It's
Ooh,
something I've been wanting to do for a while.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, just try, because I have a full range of sizes, I have to be able to have, all of them on hand and have a place to store. So t-shirts don't take up too much space. So I'm going to be adding white, gray, turquoise, and purple in addition to my black.
Ooh,
So
the
that'll be,
turquoise is going to be
yeah.
nice.
Yeah, I've had a lot of requests for that, and so it's just been like a logistical thing because adding all the listings of all the colors and doing the photos and stuff gets a little overwhelming. But like I said, I have that trusty VA, so that's going to be a
Yeah.
big project for us this spring to get going on that. And then when I do hoodies, I actually do those as a pre-order because
Gotcha.
the cost of the hoodie blanks is so much more than a t-shirt.
Hmm.
So yeah, so I order exactly what people have ordered and make them then. So and that's worked out well. I just do that twice a year. And I started doing tank tops last summer, so I'm going to be doing tank tops again this year as a pre-order so that I can get exactly the sizes and colors people want, and it allows me to have more options available to do it as a pre-order. So that's nice.
That's true. That's
So
really
yeah,
true. Yeah. That's awesome.
yeah.
Well, so do you have, when you think about your business, I mean, is this something that you see doing long term, or do you have other, like I say, career goals, but like are there other things that you want to do, or do you just want to keep growing this? And do you have like dreams and goals for this business that are kind of like 5-year, 10-year plan? Like, what does that look like?
Um, I really enjoy this. And if it continues to work, going into the long term, then yeah, I would absolutely love to do this. Like I said, I do have that, like, I really want to do the plus size women's focused t-shirt shop. That I would
Hmm.
probably do print on demand. So that's like a whole other logistical challenge. But so that's why that one's just simmering on the burner for now. But yeah, I would love to do this long term. I haven't made like real big goals just because with the whole family thing, it's the last
Yeah.
2 years have been so up and down, and
Well, the
I feel
focus
like
is
when I
on your
make a plan,
kids, I'm
yeah,
sure.
when I
I
make
think
a
that's more
plan,
of like, let's focus on the kids' goals and like
yes,
getting them where they need to be.
yeah, and in 3 years, everybody's going to be in school full time,
Hmm.
so and I'm like, I can worry about tackling bigger stuff when the kids are a little bigger, but I still have kids that are pretty little at this point in time. So not only is it difficult, but I'm pretty sure that I would regret it if I tried to. I'm trying to work less, not more, basically. I mean, my husband
Yeah.
was home for a good bit of COVID, so I kind of went into it full bore at that point in time because there was two parents home, but
Yeah.
that's not the case anymore. So sometimes my
Hmm.
brain doesn't remember that when it thinks I can do all the things, but but yeah. So, I mean, it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. There's not a whole lot of aspects of this I don't enjoy other than, like bookkeeping and taxes.
Yes. I
But
feel you there.
that's my least favorite part.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We just dealt with that last week. Luckily we got it done early. We're like, we're good, we're
Good for
past it,
you.
we're clear. So that's really nice. But it's always like nerve-wracking
Oh yeah.
getting all that together. Um, well, I wanted to ask you too, because you said you got tell me what your BA was in again.
Painting and drawing.
So when you went to school, what did you want to do?
I wanted to be a painter.
Yeah.
I laugh at myself now. I mean, I don't, but
Oh
yeah,
no.
I mean, I really like thought I was gonna, you know, live in New York and have a studio or something. I don't know, but that
Yeah.
never came close to happening.
Do you
But that's
watch The
okay.
Office?
I
Did,
have, yeah.
it reminds me of Pam. She's live in New York with a house with a loft,
Yeah.
or what did she call it, a
Yeah.
terrace, and be a painter.
Yeah.
I think that's great though. I mean, because I think a lot of people get forced out of going into a creative field.
Hmm.
I know my parents, I wanted to go to, it was a magnet school
Mm-hmm.
in our area. So they didn't want me in the public school, so they put me in a private school. And I was like, well, can I try to go to the magnet school?
Yeah.
Because they had the option to like major in an
Mm-hmm.
art where, you know, you got all the same education, you know,
Yeah.
it was just you got that as well. And they really pushed
Yep.
against it. Like they didn't want me to do that. You know, they were like, photography is just a hobby, you know. So I ended up doing my bachelor's degree was like it was biology and psychology
Mm-hmm.
were the two. Um, and you know, I thought I would, you know, maybe teach, I guess,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, but I
Right.
didn't really know, you know, because
Yeah.
I didn't, and none of it felt really like this is what I know I want to do. I didn't have like a passion. You know, some people like really want to be a nurse or really want to go to medical school or really want to be a veterinarian or something. And like I never had
Yeah.
that drive. Um, you know, and I think I have found so much more joy in living this more creative life and, you know, being able to, you know, it is you're working on your own terms. You're not forcing yourself to come up with ideas. You know, it kind of, you can allow it to come as it does and then focus, you know, your efforts elsewhere as needed on the business, you know.
Yep.
But
Absolutely.
I don't think you should laugh about wanting to be a painter. Do you still paint at all? Is that something you want to do again ever?
Um, Maybe when my kids are older.
That's what I was gonna
I mean,
say.
when I painted, it was like this yarn room is. It's like everything's everywhere, and
Yeah,
I don't know how to not be like that. So
yeah,
I can't see like leaving stuff out and having them like fiddle with it. Like I don't think I could
yeah.
handle that. But I have my iPad. I'll draw and Procreate sometimes, but um I feel like that's like a whole other thing. I went to school long enough ago where like the graphic
Yeah,
design stuff was on pencil and paper, it wasn't
yeah,
so learning the layers panels and stuff like that. I mean, I know how to use Photoshop, very basic use of Photoshop and Lightroom and stuff, but yeah, it's like this whole other thing, and I feel like I need to devote more time than I have to learning it. So I just play around every once in a while. But
what was your medium when you painted? What did you like working with?
oils and acrylic.
Okay. Yeah, that was both of my grandmothers were oil painters. And I have a lot of their art, and it's so funny because they were both beautiful painters, but you could see such a huge difference in
Yeah.
like the things that they like to paint. So like when you painted, did you paint realism or did you like abstract? Like what did you like to do?
Yeah, I liked abstract in particular, and my senior thesis project was a combination of like sculpture and painting. So like I built
Ooh,
out of wood panels. I built these kind of they were like bas relief basically. I mean, they were just slightly
yeah,
raised, but and then I painted it in abstract style. So I had several pieces that I made that I still have out in my pole barn.
that's so
But yeah,
cool.
that was really
Yeah,
fun.
I
I wish I had
I
gotten
would.
into fiber arts then, because there was my sculpture teacher. She was making, she was a grad student, but she made this like sewn and crocheted like huge. Her thesis project was amazing, and it was all fiber art.
That's really cool. Well, it's funny because you mentioned bas relief,
Hmm.
and is that how you say it?
Hmm.
And the only reason I know that is because we had a pretty awesome art teacher in high school,
Hmm.
and I actually still have one of my pieces that was like, I don't even remember how we did it, but I think it was like some kind of thicker than aluminum foil, but we had to use like pins to like push into it, and then
Hmm.
you flipped it, and that was like your piece. And she would enter us in, you know, local art fairs and things. And I have a few that
Fun.
have little ribbons. And I was
Neat.
like, this is cool. And one of
Yeah.
them was that. So I was like,
Yeah.
the only reason I recognized what that was.
Yeah. I took a lot of art history classes, so some of that stuck.
Well, and do you feel like that any of that comes into play now with your designing? Whether it's color work, like do you feel like that was helpful now to what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, learning composition helps me immensely with like my photography and stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
And then having the class critiques, that was great preparation for a lot, because we're on display for the world. We're putting
Yeah.
ourselves out there with everything we do, and being able to let that stuff roll off your back for the most part, and you know, also to learn from what other people have to say, not just to go, oh, you know, you don't know, but just to stop and consider what they're telling you. And, you know, somebody else's perspective is totally different from your own, being able to incorporate that into, you know, future projects or whatever it is. I think that, you know, that's not an experience I would have necessarily had without art school. And that was a big part of it. I mean, we'd have class critiques like several times a semester. So, letting other people see your works in progress wasn't like something I ever would have wanted to do, but
yeah.
But yeah.
Well, and that's what people, I mean, I feel like the crochet community is big on that. Like everybody wants to see works in progress.
Yeah.
At least there's that. What has your, and because I know we're running close to time, we got a few minutes left, and I would love to know what your experience overall has felt like being a part of this community, because it's definitely, especially here on Instagram, you know, if you've got Facebook groups, the greater crochet community and maybe some of the smaller communities that you feel like you're a part of within the fiber arts community. What's that been like for you?
It's been so rewarding. I can't imagine like being in another art, I guess, where we don't have this sense of community, like where you can just, you know, talk to everybody. I mean, yes, there's drama everywhere, but people are so encouraging. And I don't know. I mean, I've had almost no negative interactions. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what I would do without it, really. You know, I've been in multiple like Etsy coaching groups, and it's like trying to explain what our community is like to other people. It's hard because it's so incorporated in what we do, and I don't know how to separate it from, you know, when I'm planning something or when I'm thinking about something. That's part of what I think about is, you know, how will this impact the community? How will this benefit them?
Yeah.
How, you know, so it's been great.
That's good. That's good. I mean, and I feel like that's what I hear, because I try to remember to ask that for all of these. And, you know, I feel like the consensus is like, yes, there's always going to be drama because you're getting this many people together. I mean, it's a huge community. You know, everybody's got different opinions. We're all from different backgrounds. Like it's kind of crazy, like the age differences and the location differences and language differences. I mean, like it's amazing. But I think what's kind of cool about that, and I liken it a little bit to, I always went to really, really small schools. Like I think I graduated with 30 people in high school. And I always told my parents, I was like, man, you know, like I don't have a group that I fit in with. I was like, I wish I went to a bigger school so there were more people to like have these smaller groups. And I think that's the beauty of the fiber community, is that the niches have been created. Like you can find like different areas, whether if all you do is amigurumi, there's an amazing community of just people who do just that, you know, and support each other there and help each other there. You know, I feel like you were talking about the plus size community. They have been speaking out in crochet and knitwear of saying like, this needs to be a focus of, you know, the industry, the crochet industry, because I think that's something I see a lot of. There are certain brands that do it well. I think Lion brand, they only release patterns that go up to a 5X, but there are brands out there, like well-known brands that stop at like an XL for their patterns. You know?
Yeah, it's hard to understand that because, I mean, like I said, I did a lot of research when I wanted to start that t-shirt shop, and it's like, 68% of American women are a size 14 or larger.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
no, I think it's just all about finding the areas within the larger community that you feel most supported in, and I think it's, you know, avoiding drama. If you don't like it, then, you know, if you're not everybody's, what is it that they say? You're not for everyone, and everyone's not for you. You know, it's finding your people.
Yes, absolutely. And there's enough of us out there that you can just keep scrolling or whatever. I mean, there's your group scrolling. Is out there.
Well,
absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming on and joining me today. And, you know, for everyone who's watching this now, if you missed part of the video, this will be available on my Instagram. Once the live is over, it'll post almost immediately. And then I do have a playlist on my YouTube channel that has all of these episodes back to episode 1. It's crazy. This is episode 44.
That's awesome.
But it's been so much fun. I don't want to quit doing them.
Yeah.
But thank you again. I hope you have a great weekend, and I hope you can get some rest.
Yeah.
You know, like, don't overwork yourself.
Right. Absolutely.
And to everyone else, thank you all for joining in, whether you're here live or watching the replay. Dawn's great interview. Thanks, ladies. Thank you guys. I couldn't do it without people actually coming on and watching.
Yes.
So y'all have a great weekend, and we will all talk soon. Happy hooking, guys.
Bye.
Bye.